I'm a day one Genshin player who has just hit 365 days of days played. I'm going to take you over my account the way it is now and try and explain how it was before I started playing again at the start of this year. So to give you an idea of my account, here are all the 5 stars I had when I stopped playing over a year ago before Fontaine. But these were all my 5 stars. We had Yoimiya, Jean, Hutao, and Nahida. And as you can imagine, I pulled Nahida on her first banner. So that was 2.5, 3 years ago. And these were the only 5 stars I had at stage. If we actually go into the characters, I can show you their builds since I've not used them since returning. And as you can see with 633, I did not know what I was doing in terms of talents. These are exactly as I found them. I think I might have even upgraded Jean's Dandelion Breeze because I believe she was 444. And yeah, Nahida, not so much. I have built her since returning. She was a big part of my return team. When I first returned, I pulled Nouvellette and Nahida was on that team. Their weapons aren't accurate as I have tried to change their build since. But you get the idea. These characters were not built well. I did not have any direction on where I was going or what I was doing. I'd yet to pull a single 5-star, so you can ignore all of these. Heck, even like scrolling down, I'd probably have to scroll down to here, if not further, to give you an accurate representation of how little weapons I had. Because 136 days is not many. The Luxurious Sea Lord was my only event weapon up until my return, and I can safely say between 1.0 and 4.8, 5.0 even, that was my only event weapon. So though I was a day one player, my account is not well built or stacked. I've slowly been building up my artifacts, and though I've made a couple of good pieces now and found a few, my characters are not perfectly built, but they are decently built. I've learnt this recently with Farina, who I thought was on an okay build, but that's because though I'd been farming a lot and I was able to give her, you know, the fishing weapon, ferryman, or a full set, these are not the most optimal pieces. She's been my focus, so they have improved greatly, but they're still not perfect. So teleporting to Rito now, because this is actually where I was when I returned. So I started playing again on December 20, 2024. Don't ask me why I started playing just before Christmas, and I've played every day since for the last 8.5 months. But when I actually returned, I was still in the Inazuma Archon quest, which is crazy to think about because I'd already unlocked all the teleporters for Sumeru and even Fontaine, and when I returned, the first thing I did was just unlock all the teleporters for Natlan, because for some reason that's my style of play. I like just exploring when a new area comes out, more than doing the actual story. So it took a long while for us to get some progress going. I actually had a friend create this cheat for me, and though it has been updated as I was playing and then eventually completely forgotten about, this was a build, an idea. He went through my entire account and decided that, you know, these were the characters I should use and what would be useful until I built up my account and had better characters to use. Like, the goals at the time were just to get to level 70 or 80 on my main characters and then 60 or 70 on the secondary characters. But yeah, I had a friend build this, and as you can see down here, he did give me a in review, and that is probably still accurate, as that was the last thing I think he wrote before I took over changing this for myself. On returning, the banners were Nouvellette and Zhongli, which I believe was 5.1 or 5.2 second half. I pulled Nouvellette. I actually believe I lost my 50-50, and then one of my friends who got me back into the game, he actually bought me, I can't remember which bundle it was, I want to say it was the 8,000 Genesis bundle, but between that and the Welkin he also gifted me, which previously I was a free-to-play player, now he had bought me these, and ever since I've continued to buy my own Welkin for the last 8 months. But yeah, thanks to him I was able to pull Nouvellette, and then after that we were able to pull more and more characters. I actually made this tier maker list using the character archive date met to build a tier list and their respective patches of when I pulled them. So we can actually go ahead and show off exactly when I got my characters throughout, from 1.0 all the way down to 3.7 and then beyond as 3.7, which to me should be before Fontaine, so I don't know why Lynette's date fits in that thing, but correct that however you will, that's just where her date lines up with the 3.7 patch apparently. But moving forwards, we pulled Diona, Tighnari, who was the loss for Nouvellette, before I was able to pull Nouvellette officially, and a C6 Yao Yao, because obviously I had to pull over 100 times to get both Tighnari and Nouvellette. Actually move myself over here for now. After I pulled Nouvellette, I was able to obliterate the Archon quest and start working my way through. In the very next patch, we were able to get Mavwika. Mavwika was my ultimate goal. I just seen the bike, and I thought the bike was really cool because I just knew it was going to make exploration so much easier. And the moment I added her to my team, it really did. I've not taken her off since because the exploration is way better. Now, this is actually the cool thing. When I finally pulled my Mavwika, I don't remember my pity, but she was my first double pull. It was actually a capturing radiance. So I don't know how this works. I got the capturing radiance symbol, I got Mavwika, so I assume, you know, I was saved, so therefore I won with capturing radiance, and then I won a 50-50 on my double pull and won her again back to back. I do have a photo, I'll put it up somewhere, but this is a photo of the screen I took to show our friend that I'd gotten a double pull. It's the only one I've ever gotten at the time and until now. But as you can see in 5.3, I pulled a ton of characters. Kaching, Rosario, Chevreuse, so on. And I can go through and explain my 5 stars in a minute. But that is because I actually had surgery on my nose to correct a deviated septum, so I couldn't breathe well, I was having trouble sleeping. And I was home for what was supposed to be 2 to 3 weeks. I got told 3 weeks, but then by the time I went back to the hospital and they told me to take another 2 weeks off, so essentially for a month outside of the week where I couldn't do anything because I was practically bedridden, I did nothing but play Genshin Impact. So from December 20th to January 19th, I completed the Inazuma Archon quest, Temeru, Fontaine, and Natlan up to date at that time. So that is why I have so many characters, because I pulled on absolutely everyone's banners. The double Mavwika was huge. After that, I believe I lost Arlecchino to Kaching. Then I was able to pull Arlecchino. Then I was able to pull her weapon, which I believe was also at a loss. Then I won Clorand. I know that much. Then, for whatever reason, I decided I wanted Shenhe on the Chronicled banner, which I lost and got Xiao. Thankfully, my first 5-star weapon was actually the Primordial Jade Spear, and that just worked out really well. I was able to grind and complete the Mondstadt map and collect every chest to 100%. Then I was able to do Enkanomiya, and weirdly enough, I didn't do the Chasm, but I've now gone on to complete all of the extra maps. And I was able to grind, and on the very last day, I pulled Shenhe. And then I went on to not use her because I have no good cryo characters, and she is a cryo support. But I am building her now, and I'm hoping to eventually put her on a team, since Diona right now is probably my best cryo character. Which is sad to say. At this stage, I'd realized that I'd pulled all main DPSs, and my friend and I were talking about it, and then we knew Farina was coming up, so Farina was the absolute goal. Again, lost Farina. I think we got Daya. We might have gotten someone else, but looking at the pull order here, that seems correct. I know I did pull a second Jean at some stage because my Jean is C1, possibly C2, but I think C1. I know Daya is C1 too. Yeah, so my biggest mistake was definitely pulling all DPSs. Once we got Farina, it was able to help greatly, and then after that, the goal was Shallonen. Also lost on Shallonen. I've actually lost on all of them. I think I am fully ready for a Capture and Radiance at this stage. And there are no 5 stars after here. Mona. Okay, so at this stage, Mavwika's now come back. I've actually, since I had a C1 Mavwika, I decided to go for C2. I believe I lost that as well. That's maybe where Mona came in. No, I don't think you were there. I don't know. Not important. The point is, I now have C2 Mavwika. She's amazing. I did lose on the weapon and unfortunately was not able to get enough Primos up to pull for her weapon and actually make use of the Fate Point, so unfortunately that was lost, but we make do with that. So glad that I can control the sound of this, because Neuvillette has been so loud in my ear. Okay, so though that was probably a bit too much storytelling in terms of my character pulling, here are my actual characters as they stand now. Neuvillette, like I said, he was my biggest tank and he still is. He's on Prototype Amber. He has a pretty good Marche set. I have built a few specifically for him. Let's have a quick click through with a couple of my main characters here so you can see them. They are not perfect, but they are good, I will say. Neuvillette and Mavwika, I would even go as far to say are great. Mavwika, not as much, but she is catching up. It's not really much point in going over Diona, she's there. My Shallonen has just gotten to max. It's been a work in progress, but I was able to finally get her talents to 9-9. Should go back for Neuvillette, who I did just spend my first crown on, which was a big moment for me. And jumping back to Mavwika, 699. I feel like she is in a pretty good place. There are a few pieces that I would like to, improve on, but they're not too bad. She is on Obsidian, so the crit rate is not terrible. I am on Earthshaker right now. I don't know why. When she first came out, that's just what was recommended. I pretty much exclusively follow Game 8 now, and that is so far down on the list. I'm now thinking of swapping to Battle Shadow, but I did just unlock it, and apparently Weapon Refinement is my enemy because I did not realize how little I had, to the point that I had run out at level 56. At this stage, I've gone ahead and gotten a bunch of my characters, mainly my 5 stars, but other characters as well, their talents up to 6/6 or 9/9, depending on when and how much I'm using them. Unfortunately, some are still lagging behind, so I'll have to upgrade them. But for the most part, if I go through my parties, we'll be able to see I have some basic ideas going. So right now I have my Overworld team, my Team Friendship, which is just to get their friendship levels up. I collect my commissions on them. Then I have my farming teams, which I don't really use the Natlan Specialty Farm anymore, but the one with Ningguang is very useful for the ore. Now these are essentially my Abyss teams, or at least the basic ideas of them. I did make these a while ago. Now that I've moved the camera, you can actually see them properly. Yes, there are the first couple of teams, and now down to Nouvelettes. They're not perfect. Shevwika, as I call it. I'm not actually sure if I should be running Shev first or Iansan, but that is the current way to set up. That is actually a big weakness of mine. I'm not 100% sure how all their talents and elemental reactions work together, and what the most optimal way is. If I'm being honest, Overrun and Mavika was just such an easy carry for so long, but that's kind of all I used. And then the Florand and Father team are just ideas, and Zhao. It was just something that I built, so if I really wanted to play him, it was something I could have on the side, but as you can see, it's not exactly an optimal team. And then I just remade I put all my old 5 stars into one team just so you could see them, but that is definitely not a team I would use. Since this will make life a bit easier, we'll actually go through from Hoyo Lab, and that way we can look at my Abyss runs, because I'm still yet to 36 star. My goal was to try and 36 star the Abyss at 365 days, which admittedly was a few days ago now. But I haven't really done anything huge since then. So here is my challenge summary. I can't even scroll because that's how little I've attempted the Abyss. I don't know if that's because I stopped playing for such a long time, or if I just never made it. I've just realized that I never beat floor 8, which is why this is my current summary. So as you can imagine, that first 136 days, not super optimal. I did not even get into the top half of the Abyss, and these are my only runs ever since then. I have improved every single time, almost, and will hopefully be able to improve now that I have my C2 Mavika. The issue is I do not have a cryo character to deal with the current floor 12 chamber 1 boss, the secret source automaton overseer device, because my cryo sucks and I just cannot beat him. So if you've got any tips for that, let me know. Hopefully this goes live before that ends. But starting at the bottom, as you can see, my team's very different. You can see down there that Nouvellette and Mavrika are my mains. They will continue to be so almost the entire time. But you can see what characters I also used. I was expecting Arlecchino to come up in one of these, because I know there was a time where Mavrika could not duel it, and I was able to replace her. But that is a basic idea for my Abyss. I am still hoping to get the 36 stars soon. I don't think it'll be this run, so I'm hoping it'll be next run. But as someone with 1 year, 365 days of days played, that is my goal right now. Similarly, on the Imaginarium Theatre, I've only ever been able to get to floor 6, and though I haven't been able to get it perfectly every time, that is now my new goal, is to always get the full flowers on floor 6. And hopefully when the right elements are there, I'll be able to go ahead and finish floor 8 for the first time. Let's have a look at our past performances. You can kind of get the idea here, even having an easy mode incomplete at the beginning. I'm assuming I tried it once, failed, and did not try again. Thankfully you do have supporting cast, which does help, because there are, especially back then, a few elements that I did not have. I still use a lot of the trial characters, and as you can see, I've only just... No way! That's the first time I finished with 6 flowers. Honestly, I thought I'd done it once before. I knew I didn't do it last month, but I am surprised that this was the first time. That's actually a bit embarrassing. I have finished the floors, the 6 floors a few times, as you can see, normal modes, but that's a bit sad to look at. But anyway, big improvements there. This will be my next goal after the Abyss. Unfortunately, as you can see by the amount of trial characters I have been using, that is the hard part when it comes to going for a higher difficulty. Okay, so I think that is most of what I wanted to share for my account. I didn't want to go through absolutely everything, and I did kind of spend a bit too much time telling stories here and there. But for the most part, I feel like I've shared everything I wanted to. I'm going to give you a quick look at my current character levels. Might even go through the pages for weapons and artifacts too. So bear with me. My weapon page does need a bit of a cleanup, I will admit that. I know there are a lot of missing weapons or weapons that can be refined, and let's just ignore levels completely. If it's level 3 or below, I don't really care too much. I did get told that I should try and like save one of each weapon at refinement 5, and sometimes I have more than that, which doesn't seem to be the worst thing. I know there were apparently a couple of rare swords at level 2, but that's just because there's only 1 or 2 of them. If I ever had them, I've dumped them in the trash, I'm sorry. I was not aware of that at the time. I'm really glad to actually be starting to collect some event weapons now. I will mention that yet again, because previously only having the Luxurious Sea Lord was a bit heartbreaking. Also, what are all the events called? I've missed all the anniversaries as far as I'm aware. I've missed all the summer events up until now. What happens in Liyue? My brain says Chronicled Wish, but I can't think of the Liyue Harbor event. Last time I pulled Garming, that was my first time participating in that event too. And yeah, just safe to say, despite the fact that I'm now here a year, I've missed a lot. I am now happy to say that I play consistently for over 8 months. I play every day. I almost always spend my resin every day. I do my commissions, and my account has improved a ton because of it. Artifacts are still definitely part of the goal. They are a work in progress. But like I said, between leveling characters and this, it is a little bit hard right now. The hard part mainly for me is keeping like straight idea in my head on what I want to do and when to do it. But we're improving, we're getting there, everyone's slowly getting what they need. I've removed a lot of my artifacts from certain characters, but that's mainly because they're not being built yet. Like just there, I believe we saw Collet, and it is safe to say that my Collet is not built. I don't know why she even has artifacts on her. I might have used her once here or there, but a lot of my characters are level 20, as you just saw before, or less. Another big thing are the world bosses. Now, every weekend, I am trying to make sure I finish my commissions, because I've now finished Mondstadt and Inazuma and gotten their towers to level 8 or 10, and fully done my reputation. I'm currently working on reputation in Inazuma, which I have yet to 100% every area, but that is also the goal. I will actually have to return to Liyue, because for some reason, after I finished the reputation there, I just left without actually 100%ing the area. But that is a good way to go back and get primo gems and gold and resources, especially weapon EXP materials that I desperately need. But yeah, you get the idea. I'm not going to scroll through absolutely everything because that would be a bit too much. So just have a quick look if you'd want to. Unfortunately, this is probably a bit blurry, but here we go. Thankfully, it gets a bit easier. Yeah, I think that is a wrap. This is my account at 365 days. I'm mainly making this because I want to come back and see the difference later, because even knowing that I'd planned to do this at an earlier stage at like the 250 or 275 day mark, I can see the improvements since then. And I'm hoping to see it again in the future, mainly with the Abyss 36 stars, Imaginarium Theatre, just completing the higher floor difficulties. And what else is there really? The summer event, and then the 5th anniversary will be big moments for me, since it will be the first time, and I'm hoping I will get another free character. If you start from the bottom, you can kind of get an idea of who I do and don't have again. Just looking, I had really wanted to pull Zhongli. I wanted to be a Kazuha main so badly, so he's still on my list. Raiden Shogun, I was really sad to pass on her, but I decided ultimately it was the best thing for my account at the time since I already had Clarand. I don't feel like I'm missing anyone too hugely. Like, I don't feel like they would make my account better. Both Wriothesley and Navia are characters I would like to pull just simply because they are beautiful and amazing characters. And I really enjoyed their story and their playstyle. I am right at the spot where it's between Citlali and Nefer, and I feel like I should pull a Nefer as we're going into the Lunar Charge phase, and she'll be more useful. But I love Citlali in the story and her character. I actually don't like her playstyle as much as I do some other characters, but I know she pairs so well with my Mavika, and that is hard to pass on, but I am currently trying to pull for a Nefer, and hopefully will in the next week before the banners end. I did pass on Skirk, ultimately because I did not get a Scoffier, but I would love to get some Ice Coffee for my party. And in terms of character future, looking at nod-krai, that is something we'll save for another time, because I've jumped back and forth between too many topics and conversations, and that is probably enough for today. Okay, that is all for my account for today. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much and you got a basic idea of where everything is, and hopefully I didn't forget anything important. If you do have any tips for my parties, especially the Abyss that I showed you, please let me know because I do need help there. And yeah, maybe I will do another video of completing my first 36 stars, but we'll have to wait and see because I don't know if I can do it just yet. My characters are there, I just can't do it. It is a skill issue, 100%, but thanks for watching.